How to cut curtain bangs. That is the topic of today's video. And it seems that more and more women and celebrities and influencers are getting these types of bangs or fringe. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just break down a step-by-step tutorial on how to achieve that type of look. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously a hair cutting comb. I do sell these hair cutting combs on my website, shop.thesalonguy.com. They're a bit on the longer side, which to me gives more control to the hair, and it's got a little bit of a separation or a gap in the teeth right throughout the tip of it, so it helps with sectioning and getting much neater and cleaner sections, which I think is awesome. So you need that. You're going to need a pair of regular, cutting shears, which again, I have my own shears on my website that I sell. These were handcrafted to my specs, so this is all I use. And you can also use a thinning shear if you have one, or may want to pick one up. Not necessary. You need clips, and these are alligator clips right here. You can find these on Amazon. I mean, everybody has these types of things. And patience is what you're going to need, patience. So the key to having what the word curtain bangs, or to me, I guess it was like a longer fringe or a sweeping fringe, but the curtain look is something that just kind of, comes down toward in the face like this, and then you can just lightly brush it over across that way with maybe some pieces coming down in throughout the middle here, and then just kind of like gradually flows into the rest of the hair. So what you need to do is, first of all, understand your hair type and texture. So if you've got super curly hair, I would not suggest doing this unless you straighten your hair pretty often, or you feel comfortable cutting them. Because say, for example, if you've got really curly hair and you cut the first piece here and you're like, oh, I want to start it right here, then have it angled down. Guess what? When it's curly, it's going to come up to here. It's going to spring right up. So you have to be really careful. Does this work on people who have fine hair? It can. Or thinning hair, it can, because you can take a relatively thick section from the top here to kind of strengthen up the thinner or finer area right in through here. And for people with thicker hair, it works great as well. It's just, you have to keep in mind that a lot of this hair may want to fall forward. So they may end up being a little bit on the heavier side. But it all really depends on you and the type of look that you want. If you are going to be wearing a longer hairstyle, then obviously you don't want them super short, like up here, but you want it short enough that you'll have that little kind of curtain right throughout the front here, and then it also sweeps into the shape. So this kind of already has an existing fringe, or I'd say somewhat of a curtain type of look anyway. But what I want to do is just really break down the technique of how I go about doing it. I always start in the middle, and what I do is I establish my section. Also keep in mind that I'm doing this on fully dry hair to start like this. The hair is not wet at all. I just find that it's easier to control when doing it on dry hair, and plus you're able to see the results kind of like immediately after you cut them. So you know kind of what's going on, and you don't have to guess. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of the process. So what I'm doing is I'm just simply sectioning that hair out of the way. Here's a banana clip, and now you've got your section, which should look something like this. So we've got the hair right in through here, and it's somewhat of like almost like a triangle. Now we have to start with our first piece, right? The first section, which is going to be right in the middle. So I like to just take my finger, like almost like a pointer like this, and just kind of grab what I see right away in throughout the front. Then I'll start to determine how high do I want this, how am I going to work it into all this, what does the client want, or what's the desired look, and do I have enough room to blend this in? If I cut this too short, that means I have to cut. So you really have to take a lot into consideration when doing this, and especially if you're cutting your hair yourself. So we've got our first piece right down the middle. If you are doing this yourself, most likely you're going to be holding the comb like this, all right? You're going to be holding the comb like this, and what I suggest doing is using the fine teeth of the comb. If you are more experienced, if you are new to this, I would suggest using the wider teeth to give it a bit more texture. So let's start right here. Let's start right at the tip of the nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point cut like this, and I'm creating my baseline right in through here. The good thing about this is that it could be, I mean, yes, having it somewhat even is great, but you can have it on various kind of point cut lengths. All right, so here is our first piece right in through there. This is the beginning of the process. Now what we need to do is blend this into this, and there's a number of ways we can do this. You can take the shear and you can what we call slide cut, where you put the shear into or onto the section of hair towards the most inner part, and you use the thumb and you slowly start to close the thumb little by little to where you've blended everything in to that one piece. Now, I've noticed in my experience that that doesn't always cut it enough, that you have to really go back in over and over and over again to really start to blend that in. As you can see now, it's looking much better and much softer through here. A lot of times the slide cutting, you know, it only does so much. Then what that means is you have to go back in like this, and you're really able to see the difference when you go like that. So I'm going to do it this way, and there is a much sharper type of angle. So same thing on the other side. I'm going to comb the hair, and remember, we want to have a shape going downwards like this. So I'm going to cut upwards, and now I've got both my sides good to go, and we can continue on to making them thicker. Remember, we clipped out some of that hair. So let's go back, and we're going to take a section on top of that. Now just keep in mind, you don't want to start to cut any sort of bang or fringe into the corners. Like, you don't want to have this part really, really short if you're looking for, you know, for a curtain type of fringe, right? Or a longer type of sweeping look. You want it to work into it as opposed to cutting it off to make it work. And that's what's crucial about this. I've seen so many times where somebody will accidentally just cut all this and it goes into the hairline. You never want to cut into the hairline. That's what's really important. All right, so now we have our next section right here, and you're going to see the hair that's going to come down right into the front. And what we're going to do is point cut right on top of that. So again, we're working now on our base, and once we get to the certain part, now it's time to start the face framing and continue the blending. So I'm going to hold it out like so. And now I'm coming on top of the section, and I'm just lightly working my way down like that. Same thing on the other side. You're going to be cutting upwards. And there's something else that's very important that we have to talk about, and that is finger position. And the finger position, if you notice, when I'm working on this side of the head, when I point my fingers downwards this way, I'm able to cut upwards very, very easily, as opposed to coming across the top and putting my body in a very uncomfortable situation. You want to make sure that if you're doing this yourself, I mean, it's going to be a little bit easier because you're just going to be going this way or this way, but it's all about hand positioning and body position. If you are a professional or doing this on somebody else, or if someone's doing this, watching this video while you are getting this done, this curtain bang done, it's important that they can follow along, understand what's happening here, so that they don't screw up your hair. So now that all the hair is cut, let's comb this down and let's see what's going to happen. So this is working out just perfectly. I'm going to go and look for any other little pieces right here that may need to be trimmed. And if you take a look at this, it's actually got a gorgeous blend all the way from here right down to the bottom. So let's do this on the other side. Let's comb this all down. Let's look and see what we got here as far as how the face frame is and how it's blending in. So we're just going to take off these little bits right into here. And the great thing about doing it dry is that you're able to see and get immediate results, right? That's what I love about this, is you're getting immediate results from the cutting. Whereas if it was wet, you'd have to go back in and blow dry it afterwards and do a lot more cutting. If it's, it's better for this type of look or this technique to really do everything dry, in my honest opinion. All right, here's another thing. If you really want to take this to the next level with this sweep, with this curtain fringe, is layering, right? What does layering do? It removes weight. So if you want them to be a little bit softer, right? If you do have thick hair, what you can do is you can comb your hair straight up like this, and you most likely are going to see longer bits of hair, right in through here. So what you can do is just simply cut those, right? Bring everything to the middle. That's what we're looking to do, is to over-direct everything to the middle, so we're not disrupting the length in some areas or the weight, but you want to remove the weight just right in through here. So bring everything right up to that center point like this, right in that fringe area. And what we've done is we've really, really softened up that look. And it's a great little quick trick or technique to do that. So now we're brushing the hair over, and you can see we've got gorgeous, gorgeous kind of curtain bangs or curtain fringe. And you can, brush it over this way if you want to get a little more sweep. But the great thing is you can bring this back, brush it over, just have the slightest little bit of hair coming down in the front. And throughout the day, if it gets in the way, you just kind of brush it over like this, and it'll work into the rest of the haircut. And that's what, again, I love about this type of look. The thinning shears, I mentioned thinning shears before. This is if you are a bit more advanced and you feel like you want to have a little bit more of a softer look throughout the front here. What I do is I go in right down the middle, I create like a mohawk section, and then I just simply scoop out some of that weight right towards the ends, and then I will brush it back over. So it's something that just lightly removes some of that excess weight. And you see I'm doing this really, really fast. What I'm feeling for is thickness and bulk, right? And you do this when the hair is dry. So grab all that hair, bring it all forward, and just literally feel, right? Go by feel. Where is it heavy? Well, get rid of the weight there. And then you can really soften this whole look up. And I love adding those little touches to haircuts and looks like this. So ladies, let me know if you found this video helpful. If you are a guy and you want this look, it's the same exact thing. I mean, think about it. Do you want to wear your hair like this, right? If you've got hair, even if it's down to here, maybe to the top of your ears, you can wear that kind of old school Leo DiCaprio kind of curtain looker. But this is a way you can go about doing it. But I think this is going to work best on somebody who has, a flowing type of haircut, whether you're male or female. So let me know in the comments below if you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for more videos with The Salon Guy.